Great. Let me open up my cheat sheet where I have all the things I want to talk about open. Huh. So me and Nupur have been doing this for, this is our third talk actually. We've done a couple talks and we just, I think one day felt the need to talk about stuff, have these conversations, and we were not yet able to identify what we should call them. And then finally we settled for conscious conversations. And we've got lots of topics already that we want to talk about. It's just that in our busy schedule, we haven't had the time to actually get it done. Uh, but yeah, so today's topic is this one. And there are a couple we've done in the past. For those of you that are coming in for the first time, I will be putting the YouTube channel here. So you can, even if you find this interesting, you can actually go and watch the previous two, everyone at the meeting. Here we go. This is the YouTube channel which we created yesterday, and I uploaded the recordings. I uploaded it yesterday itself. So you can take a look at those later. And do subscribe so that you get notified of the other talks. Also, if you miss a meeting, you can always watch the recording. I'll always upload it to this YouTube channel. So I just want to give, for the people who don't, I know there are some people who have come again, but for those who don't know Nupur, I just want to do a quick introduction. Nupur is a medical doctor, so she actually did all of that, studies and everything, but she transitioned into the field of mind-body medicine and has been practicing this for several years now. So she specializes in many mind-body modalities like mindfulness. I've attended one of those programs, medical hypnotherapy. So, she is also my therapist. So I do find her sessions very, very good on hypnotherapy. It is super helpful. I will be doing one talk on just the benefits of hypnotherapy that has happened to me. I've even attended one of her EFT programs. It was, I think, a 4-day or a 3-day workshop with gaps of 1 week. And then she's also helped many other patients with cancer and also other chronic health conditions. So, yeah, as I said, she's my therapist now since Jan 2020. And as I said, I'll come back and put together a talk about how my health progress was enhanced because of my session with her. And I'm very excited to do these talks with her. And as you know, today's topic is the myth of the happily ever after. And for those of you who are newly married, yes, we are referring to marriage. In fact, I put this on my WhatsApp status once, and one girl wrote back to me, and she noticed that message and she was reading it. She didn't understand it. So she said, why is this a myth? So I said, did you just get married recently? So she said, yeah, I just 2 months. So she's like, I think nervous about the fact that it's a myth. Abhi to shadi ki. You're telling me it's a myth? So I don't think she's here, but well, let's hope she watches this video at some point and realize that it is all a myth anyway. We do feel this is something that we should deep dive into, and I'm hoping that in my questions today, Dr. Nupur will be able to help us get a better view on why this is a myth. Okay, so Nupur, do you want to share something before we get started with my questions and my badgering?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Rishi, for such a generous introduction. That was very kind of you. And thank you to all of us who have taken the time out. And even though it's going to sound like a question and answer session in the beginning, but we will be opening it for a discussion for everybody to share their thoughts and to reflect and to kind of, introspect a bit deeper into what do we mean by the happiness and what's our source of happiness and what is that we are striving for in our life situations, in our relationships, in our marriage, and where is the onus there, where are we putting the responsibility of our happiness. And that's our intention. And also we name these series Conscious Conversations because we really want all of us to ask quality questions, introspect, and to dive deeper into consciousness, aspects of consciousness. That's our main intention. So keeping that in mind, yeah, let's start. And thanks again for everybody who's joined. Thank you.
Okay, great. So the first question. First question. Oh, let me just see if let me put this on pin. Where is Nupur gone? Wait a second. I don't know what I did. Messed it up. Here we go. Pin. Add a pin. There we go. I think we have two of us here. And yeah. So my first question is, can other people, and in this case, I think we're talking about the spouse or the partner that we are actually maybe we live two people live together or something like that. Can that person make us happy? I think that's my first question that I want to know. What is your take on that?
Well, it's well, the myth, isn't it? That anybody else on the outside of us and in our family, in our relationships, in our workplace can make us happy, and that's what we are here to discuss. So no, nobody can. Well, it could be a very unfortunate truth to some of us who we are seeking, happiness from outside sources. Transient, maybe yes. Fleetingly, maybe yes. On a more sustained level, on a more deeper level, also eventually coming to the whole concept of happiness and what it really is, but and nothing which can last more on a permanent space. So unfortunately, nobody can. And this is the intention that we all, this is a deeper question for all of us to ask. And that's the point we have kind of chosen this topic today. So Rishi, unfortunately, nobody can.
So I think, but as you said, sometimes it feels like the other one. They did this and I felt happy. They did that and I felt happy. So we kind of attach to the fact that if they keep doing that, I'll continue to be happy, which is
which itself is a kind of a trap, isn't it? Because we feel, first of all, the words that you use there are very good, because you said attached. And we do tend to get attached, and we do tend to feel that it's a fix that somebody else is going to provide. And yes, it's very natural that we live in a society, we live in family setups, and we work, we're not isolated beings. So we do get affected by each other's behaviors and temperaments and actions. And it's bound to make us happy or sad, but to seek it permanently on the outside and to expect somebody else to fulfill that for us, which unfortunately a lot of times happens in our society, in our conditioning, in the movies that we watch. We are used to, we grow up watching this narrative, hearing this narrative that, this person or this situation or this degree even is going to give you happiness. A lot of times we invest ourselves in a profession that we feel is going to make us happy. So, but sooner or later, we realize that eventually it's an inside job and nobody else can, whether it's a person or a situation. Unfortunately, nothing can give us that lasting space.
Yeah. Since you, although this is not your focus area, relationships do come up as part of the stress factor which you help them deal with. Why are so many marriages falling apart? I mean, what would be your understanding of this?
I think the transactional basis of the relationships that we have kind of in our fast-paced life, we think that it's a very transactional thing. It's become like that, and the pressure that we put on the other person, because everything is kind of the onus kind of lies on the other person to provide you, to make you feel whole, to make you feel happier, and the whole concept of the better half. And though even I feel that it is not, there's nothing wrong with it, but if you go deeper, you understand that you cannot be a half to make anything whole. You have to be a whole within and a whole completely. And two wholes make a happier marriage or a happier association, and even a business partnership. It's like when, we always are seeking from outside. What can this person give me? What can this situation give me? And that is a recipe for disaster, because that's where the other person feels very burdened by the expectations, and sometimes people can't live up to our expectations. So any kind of partnership, any kind of alliance, any kinds of human interaction, the moment we think of seeking before giving will make us fall. And that is the shift that we need to make. Instead of seeking, asking ourselves, what can I contribute? instead of feeling incomplete, instead of feeling a kind of a half to somebody, can I feel whole again? Can I find a way deeper within me to feel more whole, so that I can kind of create a wholesomeness rather than, kind of burdening another person. And as you said, that is one of the key reasons why marriages are failing, because I think we are getting into it from a very misconceptional, it's a very deep misconception that this is going to give me happiness or this is going to make me happy forever, and it's the other person's job. So yeah, that's in my experience of work, this is what comes up a lot.
Right. So in my case, me and my wife, we live separately, and I'm actually quite happy. I mean, we both are free to do the things we want, and things like that. So, what I actually feel now, it's the other way around. I feel solitude is, I get to be with myself, do the things I want, and it's not like I don't have friendships. I have friendships with a lot of people, and so therefore I feel like, I'm good. This is great. The solitude is nice because I'm on my own most of the time, and like this, whether it's having a conversation with you or actually meeting somebody for lunch, that is there. I think the fact that 80% of the time I'm with myself, I'm happier, while 20% of the time when I'm with other people and doing work with other people and meeting or just having a drink with somebody, I'm that is enough for me. Can you deep dive into what's going on inside of me? Is this really the way to be happy? Because I don't know. Is this something that's going to last or what? A lot of people I meet, they say like, Rishi, what will you do in the future? I said, kya karenge? This is right now great. And everybody's kind of got that worry about बुढ़ा होगा तो क्या होगा, कौन देखेगा तेरे, कौन संभालेगा तेरा. And I'm like, I don't know whether I want to really focus on that. This solitude thing is great. What
and that's such a beautiful thing, Rishi, for thank you for sharing that very personal piece of information about your personal life. That's really wonderful to know. And what I would reflect in this space is that, you have found a sense of peace in being with yourself, and a sense of calmness, and without needing. So you're not against human interactions. You're not against. In fact, you're a very friendly person, and you love engaging with people. That's why we do these webinars with you, because you're effortless with them. With anybody else, it would be very difficult. But then when you come to maybe a partnership or a forum, or even you meet somebody, you come with a feeling of, I am enough with myself. I am enough as I am, versus feeling a sense of lack, or looking for validation, or looking for something to fulfill you from the outside. And that's the whole purpose of understanding the space of consciousness, or the space of happiness, that can I be the source of something that I'm seeking on the outside? Because everything on the outside is changeful. Everything can change. Dynamics can change, people can change, scenarios can change, life situations can change, and they will change. In fact, things are changing sometimes at a rate that we can't even keep up with. So when something on the outside is so transient, people change. We don't, the person that you married, or I married, or somebody else, even in a business partnership, the person you got into a partnership with, nobody is the same person. We all keep changing and evolving. And sometimes what happens is we have to understand that if we are basing our sense of security and happiness in something that is so transient and shifting, then where is the guarantee of it? And that's the reason that sometimes as human beings, we want a guarantee. We need something to validate it forever. And that's why we say the myth of happily ever after or forever. Because if you're seeking it on outside, it's not going to happen, because everything in the outside is changeful. It's transient. So why don't we look deeper within us into a space which perhaps is more available to us, which is unchanging, that space of awareness, that beingness, that consciousness that we talk about, right? So can we look for it within instead of looking for it outside? And clearly you somehow have found that spaciousness within, and you're not needy anymore. Right. So whatever you're doing it out of the joy of connection. So if we can just connect with people out of our joy and for the just the joy that it brings to us and to them and to our lives in general. That's wow. That's beautiful.
Okay, tell me about this. Whenever I meet people and I talk to them, and they're like, so they always try to box people, right? Oh, you're digital marketing. Acha, acha. Wow. So then they see white hair, matlab shadi shuda bachche ho gaye shayad. So they like immediately, they're like, so what are your kids doing? And all? I said, they are studying there and all. And what about your wife? I said, no, we're separated. We live separately now. And the moment I say that, 9 out of 10 will, oh, acha, acha. Okay, like 1 out of 10 was something. One guy actually said, congratulations, you're separated. He was, of course, divorced. But I think 1 or maybe 5% or 10% of people are actually saying, damn good, isne aage nikal gaya. It's like, but most of the time it's kind of like a taboo thing, like, oh, ho, bichara, kind of. I'm like, boss, I'm happy. Mera solitude is great. So why is this? I mean, why is it still an issue? Why do people feel, this is, ye bura ho gaya?
I think I see that a lot in my work as well, because when I am seeing people and, a lot of times if we don't keep our emotional health in check, we also kind of develop a lot of physical manifestations of our emotional and mental, burdens. And when we can't handle our emotions and mental health, we do manifest a lot of diseases in the body. So I see that, and a lot of unhappiness that comes from that space. Well, it is a stigma in a society, because the society has set expectations for us to conform in specific ways.
Right.
If we are conforming, if we are ticking the boxes as we are supposed to, then everybody thinks that's all good, and it comes from a very, very conditioned mindset. But that's what we are seeing now, that a lot of people are not conforming to those traditional ways of being.
Right.
Whether it is not doing the same conventional degrees that were considered valid earlier. It was just 2-3 professions people were looked down upon if they were doing certain specific professions. It takes time for the humans to evolve, and that's what we need to understand, that we are a constantly evolving species. We have evolved from the time when our ancestors were cave people, cavemen, farmers. We are still there, but a lot of us now have got into the industrialized space.
Right.
So somewhere there is a physical evolution that's happening, and there is a society that we are kind of, wants us to conform to a certain code of conduct. But we have to also understand that we are also evolving emotionally and spiritually. But sometimes that is not in the same, it's not in sync. So the spiritual evolution towards consciousness and to deeper spaces of being, of acceptance, of being more tolerant, is not happening at the same pace at which the evolution in the technical world is happening, or in the society is happening at large. And that's why I think we are not as accepting of people who are of a different mindset. We do tend to judge them, but that's the whole point of these conscious conversations, to say that, eventually let us allow people to be who they are, and to not be as judgmental about other people's life choices, whether it is about living, not wanting to get married, or living with somebody. We have the whole homosexual, gay, lesbian societies,
Right.
and we have to open up to all aspects of humanity, because
Right.
we have to understand that it's eventually about allowing people to find their own happiness instead of imposing it on them.
So here, when you're talking about happiness, right? Are we talking about like joy, excitement, or are we talking about like peace and bliss? What is happy when we're referring to the word happy?
So a lot of times we think happy is a state of, joy and euphoria. And for a lot of us, it is that. I almost call it like the graph of the ECG. It goes up and down, and literally that's what people think, that, that's what joy and happiness is. And then we come crashing down, and then we again seek a fix. But the ultimate space which we want our listeners today and people who have joined us to understand is that it's more a space of equanimity. It's more a space of calmness and stillness, and a space of a sublime quality of peace and joy, which is more subtle, which is more present in the background. The more we recede inwards. And that doesn't mean we become a recluse or we don't engage with society, but we also understand that first we need to plug in, because this is the source of everything that we are seeking on the outside. So we have to turn inwards and then understand that that happiness that we are seeking is anyways transient, because if we look back in our life, there are many things that we wanted that we thought will make us happy. But once we have got them, are we really happy, or are we then on a quest for something big, something more?
Whoa. This is good. I think that's a lot we managed to cover. Let's actually why don't we just open this up? I don't know, if people want to share their experiences, or do they want to ask questions to Nupur? I mean, let's open up so let me go ahead and
Yeah, absolutely.
unmute themselves. Yeah.
And one more thing that I really would like to share today, and I'm please come up with questions. And it's not just a Q&A. Let's all share our thoughts and let's share our perspectives.
Sure.
But there's one deeper space that I really want everybody to reflect on is the ego that we all are. So a lot of times, Rishi, when you ask me why do people relationships fail and people even separate, it's a lot of times when we are coming from our egoic nature, and understanding that egos are the ones that are at clash, egos are the ones that are at war. It's our personality, our egos that we are always warring and trying to fight. But there can be a space within, beyond the ego, and that's what we call the aware space or the consciousness space. And a book that I would really recommend everybody, in fact, as I was Rishi and I were discussing this is one of our favorite book. It's called A New Earth. It's a book called New Earth by Eckhart.
I think your mic is getting muffled. Just say something.
Okay. Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, New Earth. I'll put the link on the chat in the meantime.
Yeah, so this is a wonderful book that takes us deeper into these questions of who am I, and what is how can I make a better relationship with myself and others, and what is ego really, and consciousness. So really recommend everybody to read that book.
Great. Okay. If anybody feels like asking questions or sharing their experience, just go for it. I think I've unmuted there is a chat somebody has posted here. Mayuri, most of the time self-respect is mistaken as ego. Mayuri, you want to add something to that? Or that was a one line, Bolelai statement. You want to share some insights on that, Mayuri? One line, yeah. All right, awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that it's sometimes so important to understand. Sometimes we need self-respect. Of course, we need self-respect, and that's creating healthy boundaries around us also. That's very important. But a lot of times, in wanting our egos to be recognized, sometimes we just want to be right, rather than to be listening to the other person. And a lot of times then we are speaking from a very limited identity, and that's the real relationship and the real love and the real happiness can only be found when we understand that we are more than our identities and the egos that we are seeing. And that dimension and that depth, the moment we touch that, then we respect the other person also. Otherwise we are just seeing them in that very dense form of this person and this name. But the moment we go into the absolute awareness deeper within, that's where we, start really relating with people at a deeper level. And we free them. The biggest service that you can do to somebody is to free them of your expectations. And that is the space where things start to thrive, because you let them be and you give them that space. And that's where the happiness also thrives. It can never thrive in a place where people are feeling cagey and caged.
Actually, that is another thing. Space for me was always a big one. It could be, as silly as I want the fan on and you don't want the fan on. It could be I want the curtains drawn. No, I want the curtains. There's a light. I can't take the light. Shut it. It could be the volume of the music I'm listening to is disturbing the other while it's totally bringing. So I think everybody needs spaces. If people can even if they're living in the same house, but if they have their spaces and don't have to, I don't know. So it's like,
So that's a beautiful thing of the physical space around us.
right.
Right. And we all understand the concept of physical space, because in COVID, we have all been, the pandemic, we have been cooped up in small spaces, most of us,
Yeah.
and, not, and making do with that. But what about the inner spaciousness? And that is a deeper dimension, and that exists in all of us. It is a deeper, a more free space of awareness within us. Just the way we need physical space, there is a dimension within us, which is called the inner spaciousness. And that's what teachers like Eckhart Tolle and the book that I recommended, and that's what they're talking about. The more we are in touch with this inner spaciousness, the more we are in touch with our own source of contentment, peace, and joy, the less we are addicted to seeking happiness on the outside or seeking joy on the outside. Yeah, Archana, go ahead, please. Your hand is raised.
Ma'am, how do we deal with a person if suppose it could be a friend, it could be your batchmate, anyone? Okay, if suppose you are concerned for someone and you want to know that whether that person has reached house on time or not, or at what time that person has taken the train, does it come under the nature of a bossy person or a person who is all the time interfering in others life? Means how to go about it, how to get the idea that what the other person really wants to convey to you. When the other person says ki, don't, in Hindi that person says ki roz roz ek hi baat क्यों पूछनी है. And if you are in a habit of asking not your female friends but your male friends along with your family members also, if you have a set pattern of asking things to everyone, is everything okay, अच्छा ठीक है बहुत दिन हो गए, we have not called each other, or can't the other person understand a genuine concern? Why do they behave rudely at that time?
Well, that's a very sweet question. Clearly, you are a person who's very concerned about others, and you are obviously, probably you could even be an empath. Where we are more concerned and we're kind of checking on other people. But at this point, Archana, I would like to say that sometimes asking yourself this question, that where does this tendency in me to always ask and seek and kind of worry comes from? Why am I so is it coming from a sense of insecurity, a sense of fear of losing somebody, or a sense of what is my dominant vibration emotionally? What is my fear? What is my feeling that's giving rise to this question? Because sometimes it could also border on a sense of a deep sense of fear and insecurity, that, oh, what if something wrong happens to them? And what happens is, then we tend to project our fears on other people, and people don't like that. People feel claustrophobic. They clamp down when they feel that somebody's coming on to them all the time. So I would say, like, more than just asking very frivolously or out of habit, really go down deeper and ask, from where is this coming in me? Why is this insecurity there? What has happened that I need to kind of get this sense of confirmation every time that they're fine and they're on time and everything is okay? Because once people know that you are there for them, if there is a problem, they will reach out to you. And even if they are having a problem, we need to start trusting life, that people will be around, things will happen, that person will be taken care of. And I'm sure people in your life know that you're always there, a phone call away, if you're so concerned. So maybe dropping the neediness in this situation, and developing a sense of deeper trust might be more helpful.
And ma'am, one more thing. What does this sentence means about live in the moment? What does this mean? Because uh, since it since a girl is born and at the age of 23 or 24 when she gets married, her parents teach her to to that you have to say yes to your in-laws along with your husband for whatever they have in store for you. Okay, there is no need to argue with anyone. Okay, this is what is the Indian tradition. And this is what the Punjabi tradition is also. Okay, that you need to set a goal for yourself, or you need to look like a person that who is very calm and composed, and कोई बहस और आर्ग्यूमेंट का कोई सीन ही नहीं है. ठीक है. Okay, so uh, 20 years of your life you spend that way, and when all of a sudden you lose your husband because of corona or because of any reason, now those people are saying that now Archana you should live in the moment. Now how double faced they are. What they taught me earlier when I was getting married, and what they are teaching me now after 20 years, how can I change my nature within few months? Is it possible?
Well, I must say that that's our conditioning. That's the society that we have all been raised in for, and that's our intention through these conscious conversations to tell people that no, please live for yourself. And you don't have to say yes where you don't want to say yes. You don't have to conform where you don't want to, and to really listen to your voice and listen to your heart. So, Archana, I would say that what makes you happy and what feels right to you at this point in time is what you need to honor for yourself. And you've had a lifetime of listening to other people, but eventually probably life has brought you to a point where now you need to call the shots. You need to ask yourself, what is it that I want to do with my life and how do I want to live it? So it's not for me to tell you anything. I don't think I can, because I don't know you that well. And plus I would say asking deeper questions within your heart will give you more guidance rather than asking for what I should be doing, right? So that's the reason I was saying that um, there is something that we seek outside. We always are taught to look for things outside. If you become very educated, that's great. You will get a bigger job, you'll get a very good package. So everything is very extroverted in our society. Do this, you will get this. Do get married, you'll get this. But nobody ever tells us that, please stay silent for a bit. Be quiet, calm down, be in silence. Be in quietude. Ask, because all the answers come from within us. Because so all of us will come to a point in our life where we will be told, look within, search within. We can only guide each other, but eventually it's your instinct and your intuition that you all need to tap into, right? So I would say that you've had a lifetime of listening to other people, and though being in the moment is the most ultimate answer to everything, because everything else is an illusion, the past and the future. So that is the ultimate truth that you're saying. But I would say you should arrive at that conclusion and not be told by anybody else. And then it can be your truth rather than, again, a prescription. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So one of the things, Nupur, when you mentioned, looking inside, because mind is like a freaking monkey. Like you try, if you try to go within, right, close your eyes and sit quietly, sit silently, and you're just, this guy just chatter keeps going on, right? It's such a challenge, right, to keep this guy just chup baithe thoda and tick, 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 tick. So can you talk a little bit about going inside and silent? What is the techniques that work for you? Is there something? Because when the monkey keeps tick, 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 going all over the place, and you're trying to be quiet, and this guy is just going on and on and on, people get frustrated. Not even a minute goes by and they say, forget yaar, ye nahi ho raha hai. इससे अच्छे किसी से बात कर लेते हैं. Let's talk to somebody about this, yeah. And I mean, maybe these conscious conversations opportunities arise, but this going within and silent is like such a challenge, which is why most people I don't think do it. Talk to us about that, yeah.
So Rishi, I would say that that's where we probably are going wrong in our practice, is by wanting to silence the mind. Because by nature, it can't be silenced, because you said it's a monkey mind, isn't it?
Right.
So what we need to do is we need to understand a very simple truth about ourselves, that we are not our mind. We are not our thoughts. We almost live a lifetime and maybe more lifetimes after lifetimes believing that we are this mind and believing our thoughts, that this is who we are. But the deeper dimension that our teachers guide us into in the space of, what is this consciousness that we're talking about? Who am I? The moment I would say for somebody to just become very inquisitive about their minds. So instead of believing your mind space and your thoughts, become very inquisitive that what are the kind of thoughts that I have through the day? What are the kind of thoughts that work me up? What are the kind of thoughts that are making me insecure and worried? So just becoming inquisitive about your thoughts and recognizing that thoughts are happening on their own. It's almost like we are not beating our hearts are beating on their own. The breath is coming on its own. Similarly, thoughts are happening on their own. But with thoughts, we get so identified that we think that this is who we are, right? And live our lives with that misconception. So I would say, let the practice to be in the awareness rather than stopping the thoughts. Become aware that you're thinking, becoming aware that the stream of thoughts is happening. And very soon you'll start finding the spaces between thoughts, right? And then you'll start noticing that you're actually not the thoughts, or you're not the mind, and the intention is not to stop thinking, but the intention is just to be in the awareness that you can be aware. So you step back from the thinking mind to just be a witness, to be an observer of your emotional states, of your thought processes. And from there on, the journey starts
So
of going deeper.
isn't it actually, we use the thought, like if I shut my mind and I'm going to close my eyes and say, okay, so Nupur said, be the awareness. So this is thought is happening in my head. It starts with the thought to become the awareness.
No, the awareness is always there. So this is a small exercise that we can all do, is just in this moment, maybe we can just drop our pens down and just become aware of yourself. Just become aware of the body right now. You can be aware of multiple things. We can be aware of the sounds in the background. We are aware of the space around us. We can be aware of the physical sensations in the body. We are aware of the thoughts in the mind. And we can also be aware of the sight, the visions that we are all seeing. So awareness is all encompassing. Awareness includes everything in it. It's almost like space. The space has sofa in it, the table in it. It has a jug of water in it, bookshelves, books. So a spaciousness kind of includes everything in it. And that's what our awareness is. But because we are so fixated on our thinking process, we think that that's it. But it takes a little bit of practice to allow ourselves to just be in the beingness. And we that's what we do. Mindfulness, we do meditation, coaching, to get people into that, just experiencing themselves beyond the thoughts and beyond the sensations, and to witness that. And that's the real space. The more you go deeper into that space, that's where you can find answers to our questions. That's the space where we can find more peace and more happiness, more joy, whatever we want to label it, rather than burdening people around us to give us that.
Okay, let's open up this for anybody else to ask questions or share experiences. What's the time? How are we doing on time, guys? Nupur, how are you? Do we have another 15 minutes of your time?
Yeah, absolutely. We have another 10-15 minutes.
Great. Anybody else would like to share some thoughts? Because I'm done with my questions.
Also, please go ahead with your questions, but try this a beautiful exercise that just came to me. Sit still for a second and close your eyes. Just become aware that your eyes are closed now. Get into the awareness that your eyes are closed. And now open your eyes. And now close your eyes. So there are two things in the experience. One is the awareness that the eyes are opening and closing, and the second thing is the vision that's appearing and disappearing. And if you can do this a little more even after the webinar is over. Just be in the awareness that now my eyes are open, now my eyes are closed. And very quickly you will realize that there is an awareness behind the vision. The absence and the presence of vision, there is an ever-present awareness that's aware of the fact that now my eyes are open and now my eyes are closed. And that's the awareness that we're talking about. So try doing this. It's a very fascinating discovery that you'll make. Oh, I'm aware now, and I'm aware of this also. This keeps changing, but the awareness doesn't change. It's static in the background. So that is one of the very quick experiments that if you work a little bit consistently on, you become aware of the awareness. And it's an experiential thing. It's not something I would want you to just say yes to, but the more you'll practice it, the more it's almost the obvious becomes very obvious, but till it becomes obvious, we need to work at it a bit. Anyways, that's me. And please now, anybody wants to share an experience, anything. Yeah.
Mayuri wrote something interesting. She said, writing down thoughts as it comes helps assess.
Wonderful.
Journaling, it's a big one. One of my friends used to, she came and spent about 20, 30 days, maybe more, over a month. She used to just sit and journal. So
very therapeutic, yeah. Absolutely.
I think most people are here are already evolved. There are no questions.
That's why they've made the time to come for us, no, to join us for conscious conversations. Because
they just wanted to confirm that it's a myth. Ha, agree de. Baki sab bhi agree ho raha hai. That's awesome. I guess it's great.
Jayesh, you are muted if you're trying to say something. Can he unmute himself, Rishi?
I think he should be able to. Allow participants to unmute themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, take your time.
Maybe a second. Jayesh asked to unmute. Yeah, there we go. Got it. Go for it.
Off topic, slightly deviating. I mean, I do a lot of reading myself. Eckhart Tolle, I started a long time back. But are we not cycling back to very old Eastern philosophies? True, false?
Say that again, Jayesh. Your voice was drifting a bit.
Are we not recycling back to very old Eastern philosophies? Eckhart Tolle, etc. I've been reading them, Richard Bach, Eckhart Tolle, for a long while now. So are we, I mean, I also read people like Steven Pinker. He says that most of our thoughts are because of the words that we learn. If we didn't know the word, we would not have a thought about it. So are we sort of coming back to the old systems anyways, of meditation, of vipassana, for example? I mean,
absolutely. And in fact, old is evolved, I would say, not necessarily old is redundant.
Right.
And old can be very evolved, but Sri Ramana Maharshi was in the olden days, right? He was there much, maybe a century ago, and the kind of wisdom that he came up in Advaita. And so not necessarily old is bad or old is redundant, but also a lot of times, I would say without picking up anything, go to try with our experience. You know, nothing teaches us better than our experience, because there are so many paths, but eventually they're all leading inwards. Whether it's religion, even religion, when practiced in the truest way, is actually leading us to a space of happiness, joy, and you know, it's just all about the approach that we take. An approach that is more lasting and an approach which is not transient, because anything that is giving us a false hope that this lies by, you know, outside of you. So if you do this, this will happen, or you'll get this, then we're always on a chase that, you know, sometime in the future, this will come to us. But finding a practice or finding a path that is telling us that if it was in the future and if I'll get it with a lot of strife, then it doesn't make sense. Why is it not my inherent nature? Why can't it be my inherent nature? So this is the space that you're talking about, which is old wisdom. And I would say we can only share, Rishi and I share things that, have really worked for us. And in my space that, things that I really, really know that have worked for people by making them self-reliant and pointing inwards, because that's where, eventually all our answers are. And I think Rishi and I both have experienced some, and we still are both students of Advaita. So, we are constantly in this recognition that it's, and the biggest question that we leave people with is, who am I? Really ask ourselves this deep question. Who am I? Because the moment we start understanding our dimension, our depth, who we are, we realize that nobody else is different from us. We are all that awareness. And then the conflicts die down, expectations die down. And that's the actual harmony and joy and love in a relationship, or whether it's in individual partners or business or work. That's the actual essence of life. So yes, absolutely, I would say. But yes, keeping our discretion alive, I would never say follow anything or any path blindly, but something that resonates deeply with you.
Most of them say this anyway. It's your path at the end of the day, I guess.
Yeah. But we can absolutely, Jayesh, I don't know why, is this my audio or is it?
His audio is a little muffled. Even yours is crystal clear, his is muffled a little bit. I don't know why.
Is this better?
Yeah. Maybe you just need to come closer to your mic.
Yeah, I need to come closer, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely, Mayuri, you're absolutely right. Self-acceptance.
Accepting self,
Absolutely.
including our flaws, being happy with our flaws. It will help us not to expect confirmation from the others. Wow, I'm a bad cook. Agreed. I am so and so. Who has a
Education, affirmative education that you've gone through, that is one of the issues, isn't it?
Yes, unfortunately, no. So unfortunate. Education is meant to expand, but it kind of limits us in many ways. And people think that they become, whatever you're educated for, this is your profession and this is who you are. How limited we become by believing this narrative. And at the end of it, it's all a narrative. We become what we think, we feel, and what we say. So eventually, actually, the whole point of education should be to make us wiser and to make us more expansive.
Mayuri is accepting self, etc. This is like you were saying earlier. I mean, it's rediscovering your old self in principle. I mean, we have a special child in the house, and I see how happy he can be. Yeah? I mean, he realizes that I'm on a video call now. He's come to say hi.
Hello. Hi there.
This is Nupur.
Hi, I'm Nupur. What's your name?
What's your name? Pranav Shah. Otherwise, he thinks of himself as Salman Khan.
Amazing. Yeah.
We homeschooled our children, so to a large extent, I see. Sit.
Yeah.
So this was to Mayuri's accepting self itself. We were taught entirely different, except a teacher's idea, except a mother's idea, except a father's idea. So getting to self-affirmation is a journey which is by itself a long one.
Yeah, absolutely. You're so right. And as Archana also shared that, all her lifetime, she was told to kind of listen to other people, to conform and kind of suppressing your voice. And so we really need to understand where we are, how much more of it are we going to accept, take on? And at what point do we stand up for ourselves? And then, for all of us, the journey is different. But the intention of our talk today was to say that, let's not base our happiness on our circumstances or on people outside of us. It's about time to take the onus and to feel that, each one is responsible for themselves. And that's the way we can make a happier, maybe relationship, family, society, or wherever we are, even workplace. But we have to stop expecting and wanting things from outside and look deeper within us.
Yep.
That's where all the answers are. Lovely to, he's quiet now because you've told him to be quiet. No, he can speak, definitely. Thank you. Lovely. Thank you for sharing, Jayesh. Thank you. Wonderful. So Rishi, if there are no other questions and no other sharings, I'd be happy to call it an evening today.
Yes, I think that makes sense. I will also want to check with you on some things on the next talk. So I guess for those who came in a little later, I'm just going to put, I'll just email the YouTube channel and I will put this video up for those who missed it or had to leave halfway. You want to catch up, so the recordings are there. And until next time, I guess, till we schedule the next one. Have a great evening and bye, I guess.
Thanks,
Bye bye everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Nupur. Bye.
Thank you, Preeti.
Huh?